Thanks for being here. Welcome to Green Tree Borough Council meeting for Monday, May 6th, 2024. We have two major holidays this month. We have Mother's Day coming up on Sunday. And at the end of the month, we have Memorial Day. So like to have a moment of silence and recognition of our mothers here in the past, and also for the men, military who's gays are all supporting us and continue to do that also. So we'll do a moment of silence, followed by the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please, Kim.
Ms. Barron. Here. Mr. Panza.
Here.
Mr. Ray.
Here.
Mr. Robinson.
Present.
Ms. Schwartz. Present. Mr. Trosi.
Present.
Mr. Tintori.
Present.
Mayor Shea.
Present. Next up, I'd like to have approval of the minutes for April 1st. 2024. So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Therefore, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
I abstain. I was not here.
Okay. I will move on to approval of the minutes for the April 8th, 2024 meeting. So move. We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
I abstain. I was not present.
Motion passes. Next up, I'd like to have hearing of the citizens. If there's any persons wishing to address council, please come up to the podium and state your name.
Christine Short, 251 Park Edge. I have a couple things. First and foremost, thank you for the public hearing on the swimming pool. I do believe it was long, but it was informative, and I hope council makes the right decision on the pool. Closing it down, putting a new one in. I know it's gonna cost a lot of money, but I think that would be a better decision than patching it. Secondly, at last council meeting, it's been brought up several times, more than several times, regarding executive sessions and public meetings and such. And what I hear from council is, I can't make this meeting, I can't do this meeting, I'm not here, I'm not this. And then I hear, well, you know, you folks are elected officials. You do have to give up part of your life to be an elected official to meet the needs of Green Tree residents. I know there's a committee chair, and then there's two other folks for them. So when you have somebody on the planning commission, they're a committee chair, and then you have two folks. Divide and conquer. If one person can't make one of the meetings, maybe the other person can. Y'all three don't need to be at those meetings. So just making a suggestion there. Also, I've brought this up many a times regarding the water main breaks on Sheldon. We just had another water main break behind my house. This is at 232 Sheldon. This gentleman has had 4 water main breaks in the last 2 years. And this last one was a doozy. Not only did his front yard get destroyed, but also my yard and my back porch was flooded, and the water started leaking into my garage. We talked to the water company, and they said we're about 2 years out getting new water lines down Sheldon. I don't know what's going to happen because these breaks are in his front yard. And if it's not here, it's here or here. And he told us that his basement is now bowing because of all these breaks. We've pleaded with the water company, and I don't know if council can do something to maybe push that project ahead. Cause I think the next one, it's gonna take a lot, cause, you know, it didn't bother me it did bother me. But that was when we had a lot of rains and I was seeing people's houses floating down the river. So a little water in my basement, but it's continuous. It's 4 breaks in 2 years. My last thing is volunteering. We had a gentleman that came to our planning commission and he was complaining about volunteering. And why does it take so long to get interviewed and become a volunteer? We have a lot of folks that want to volunteer in Green Tree, and I get it. I mean, you guys have to interview, but is there any way you can speed the process up so these folks can volunteer that want to volunteer? Because eventually you're not going to have any volunteers if you continue to do what you folks are doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, council. Lance Deweese. I'm actually here speaking for 825 Poplar Street, the Green Tree Volunteer Fire Company. I'm here just making a quick thank you tonight. I used the citizen request portal a couple months ago about getting the interior of our building repainted. Some sort of updates that haven't been done in the years past. So we really appreciate that. I'm not sure the decision hierarchy on how that all went through, but I wanted to do a huge shout out to the people on that actually followed through with that. The Public Works Department. We really appreciate that fresh coat of paint, lighting, shower renovation. So I really just wanted to stop here and just really reach out to. We're very thankful that happened at our department. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Kevin Maurer, 42 West Manila Avenue. I'm just here on behalf of the Green Tree Garden Club. We have 97 members and we'd like to invite you to come to our big spring festival this Saturday between 10 and 3 p.m. It's going to be held both at the fire hall and here in the outside the municipal center, in the gymnasium. We have a vendor craft show. This is a commercial for the cyberspace. We have plants, we have flea market, we have all sorts of things, annuals, perennials, legal herbs. We even have activities for the children. We have caricatures being done from noon to 1 and balloon sculptures from 1 to 2 in the garden up here. And I want to thank, first of all of the staff here in the Borough Building, especially Miss Kim over here and Wendy for coordinating and cooperating with me over the last few months in getting this off the ground. So hopefully we'll see you. And we have great food too. Forgot. We have a bake sale, sandwiches. Did I miss anything, ladies? Flea market, I think I said that. Okay, but anyway, so you're all invited. We hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Anyone else?
Aldo R. Colati, 143 Sheldon, 15220. I would like to second Ms. Schwartz comments regarding the water main break on Sheldon Avenue. Mayor Schenk had his spring meeting recently, April something or another, and I mentioned it to Mayor Schenk at his meeting regarding my concern about the repeated water main breaks on the lower part of Sheldon Avenue. As an update, I have contacted Representative Deasy's office, who is our state representative, and I'm trying to get a hold of some sort of a complaint form so that I would be able to file a complaint with the Public Utility Commission regarding this matter. It's not going real super quickly. They haven't gotten back to me as to exactly how to go about doing that yet, but I'm working on it. But yes, I think Borough Council, you should maybe be interested in filing a complaint with the Public Utility Commission regarding this matter, because it is a serious problem. And as she said, I think there's been 4 or 5 water main breaks in that particular area, plus another one in the 182 area of Sheldon Avenue, and I think another one around in the 168 area of Sheldon Avenue, all within recent memory. And the one at 182 Sheldon was the exact location where the house caught on fire a few years ago on Super Bowl Sunday. So it's my understanding that when there's water main breaks like this, the fire hydrants don't work. And so this is certainly a concern. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
Here he comes. He's,
Oh,
maybe.
maybe he is.
Thanks for your patience.
No problem.
For all the noise. His mom's in class right now, so I had to bring him.
No worries.
Interested in finding out the process for,
You have to, excuse me, you just have to state who you are and your
apologies.
address.
Jordan
For the record.
Bouvet. I live at 1070 Arbor Drive, Green Tree 15220. Live at the corner of Arbor and Orchard. It's just off of Green Tree Road. A lot of cars use it to bypass the light at Carnahan and Green Tree Road for rush hour traffic. So they'll use it to access Banksville, whether they go down Carnahan or down Crane. But at, morning time, the cars are going by pretty fast. There's a bus stop there, I believe. There's a lot of kids in the area. So it's just kind of concerning, the speed that these cars go by. I know, like, pulling out of my driveway, there's times they come up so fast, you don't really have time to react. So just interested, I don't know the process for determining what can be done, if anything, in terms of stop signs, speed bumps, things like that. So yeah, I just don't know where to go. I went to the front office some time ago and they directed me to direct the issue to you all. So.
Well, I would say we do throughout the borough, on many of the streets, we try to call down on, like on Oriole Drive off of Potomac, you can't make a right. There's so many different, restrictions. We did a lot on Avical recently, over the years. So we'll have people, we'll start looking at it, and I'm sure, like, if we restricted maybe, like no right-hand turn off of Green Tree Road from 7 a.m. till 9 a.m., something like that.
Okay.
Usually what we've done, so now that you brought it to our attention, I'm sure we'll take a look at it.
Okay. I'm not anticipating anything happening quickly or anything, but is there, should I check in potentially with you, in weeks, months, whenever?
Well,
they-
actually, that's what infrastructure, or is that community affair?
It'd be public safety.
Safety.
Public safety.
I got
Did
it.
you send an email in
Yes.
on that?
I did.
Okay.
Not long, like a couple weeks ago?
It would have been about a month. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You know what? If you want to call the office tomorrow, my name is Judy Miller,
Okay.
and I'll just, because I think maybe it might be in the PD by now.
Okay.
So, yeah, just give me a call, we'll talk about it.
Wonderful. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.
Bye-bye.
Look at it. Anyone else? Okay. We'll move on to a community pride presentation. Mayor Shane.
Yes, I'm pleased to read the following resolution. Jerry Geiger is here tonight and his wife. He served on the police department for 36 years. I'm going to read this resolution and tell a story, a personal story, and go from there. Whereas Officer Jerry Geiger of the Green Tree Police Department will officially retire on May 11th, 2024, after 36 years of dedicated and honorable service to the community of Green Tree. And whereas throughout his years of service to the Green Tree Borough Police Department, Officer Geiger received numerous commendations from the chiefs of police and mayors who he has served under. And whereas Officer Geiger participated in numerous investigations, working with fellow officers and outside police departments and task forces, demonstrating professionalism, knowledge, dedication, and enthusiasm that led to many arrests and brought credit and praise to the Green Tree Police Department. And whereas because of his common sense, courage, and patience, Officer Geiger resolved many potentially dangerous situations in a professional manner. And whereas Officer Geiger was awarded the Department Commendation Ribbon and also awarded the Department Life-Saving Ribbon for his effort in saving the life of a citizen during a medical emergency response. And whereas Officer Geiger was awarded a special commendation certificate from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania's Office of Attorney General for his participation with the Attorney General's Municipal Drug Task Force, which distinguished Officer Geiger as a dedicated and valued member of the law enforcement community. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the residents of Green Tree, members of council, past and present, Mayor Shank and former mayors wish to express their deepest appreciation and gratitude to Officer Jerry Geiger for his dedication and service to the Borough of Green Tree Police Department and the people of Green Tree. Be it further resolved that Borough Council and Mayor Shank shall and do I hereby note in the borough records their appreciation of Officer Geiger's valuable services, and a copy of this resolution is hereby tendered as a memorial token of council's and the mayor's esteem to Officer Jerry Geiger, adopted the 6th day of May 2024, and then signed by the borough manager, Judith Miller, President Art Tintori, and myself. Thank you very much. Thank you, Gary. Thanks, Jerry. Thanks a lot. Congratulations. Thanks a lot. One second. Well, we'll take a picture in a second here. Going to tell one story if I can get through it. Maybe not. Okay, I got it. October 12th. Sorry. Okay, October 12th. Can I stand up? I do better standing up. Okay. October 12th, 2000. That's what attorneys do, stand up. October 12th, 2003. I practiced. I got it. Sunday morning. Daughter's 16th birthday. My parents lived next door. Ambulance came. Got the ambulance. Sorry, I did this 10 times and didn't cry. 10 times. Okay, ambulance came. I thought it was for up the street. It wasn't for up the street. It was for next door. I didn't know what was wrong. I went over. My dad's at the front door. He tells the ambulance people he got up to shave that morning. After he shaved, he went back to wake up my mom, go to church. Her body was cold. That's why I called the ambulance. My dad's in the living room. The police come. I think they come on all ambulance calls. Officer Geiger comes. My dad's sitting in the chair in the living room. Officer Geiger is appraised of the situation. He goes over. Neil style. Takes my dad's hands. Talks to him. Attempts to comfort him. Spend a couple minutes there, just talking to my dad, trying to calm him down. That displays what a compassionate officer and caring officer Attorney Geiger was. We appreciate your dedication and compassion and understanding for all these years. And I'll always remember that situation. And sorry I couldn't get through with it better. Thank you. Now we're taking a picture. Okay, we'll give you this. Okay, thank you. There you go. Up to turn this way. Thank you. Thanks, thanks a lot.
Thanks again, Jerry. We appreciate you being here and certainly we appreciate everything you do.
Appreciate it. Any praise?
We didn't do a roll call yet to approve the motion.
Yeah,
We
we need to do the roll call.
Yeah.
Okay, to make it official,
Yes.
we are gonna do a roll call to approve the motion.
And we know if the mayor could vote, how he would vote.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, so we do have a motion to adopt resolution 1343, commending Officer Jerry Geiger for 36 years of service to the Green Tree Police Department, expressing best wishes, as so elegantly expressed in the resolution. So we will take a roll call vote, please.
Ms. Barron,
Yes.
Mr. Panza,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Bogdanovich,
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz.
Yes.
Mr. Troisi,
Yes.
Mr. Tofor.
Yes. Motion passes unanimously. Once again, thank you so very much.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to new business. First off, finance and general policy, Mr. Troisi.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I would like to make a motion to ratify the actions of the borough manager, paying the April 2024 invoices from the general fund totaling $99,658.74. Payroll account totaling $214,058.01. Educational Service Agency totaling $4,276.90. And credit card March 2024 totaling $10,035.97.
Second.
We have motion and second. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. President, I do have a question on two line items here. On page one, there's a charge for $2,882 to the Light Company LLC for fire hall exterior lights. And one right below that, the 2D Mechanical Systems Inc. for $3,450 for fire company shower faucets. My questions here are these done under a blanket contract or some other type of contract with those companies? And was this above what our public works could have possibly done at that facility?
I would say yes.
So they weren't blanket contracts, they were,
2D Mechanical, we have a contract with the light company. We have competitive quoting for their. We
Competitive.
actually compared it to 2D and they were by hour significantly less.
thank you.
And that is, by the way, the work that Lance thanked us for this evening.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? The motion passes.
Next, I would make a motion to approve the payment of the May 2024 invoices from the general fund totaling $221,625.58. The storm sewer fund totaling $1,666.89. The sanitary sewer fund totaling $727,451.26. The capital projects fund totaling $6,787.12. And the bond fund totaling $6,527.50.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I have a couple of questions. The CoreLogic Real Estate Tax Service. I don't recall that as being a vendor. Who is that? It's on page 3. Bunch of change order refunds.
CoreLogic is a tax, the realtors use it in taxing, so it's gotta be something to do with the tax service. Cause they use CoreLogic for the multi, I know that.
Bottom of page 3 right here, this number.
It's page 3 under open invoices by bank.
Those are word block numbers, so it looks like that could be reference for.
Yeah, through the tax office, probably that it was collected through or paid through.
I'm just, because there's other, like, further through, let's see, I think I highlighted them. But there's other refunds. You know, I believe this came up maybe last month too, because there were a bunch, but how are those initiated? Like, how is that lot and block or that resident or that business, how do they get those, how are those refunds initiated?
Well, a lot of times a refund can be as a result of an assessment change. Or they may have paid the tax, overpaid it, gotten them, it's due a refund. I mean, if you'd like, I can talk through it, have the finance director. give you
Yeah, so I'm just wondering, is there any way, I guess there's no way to anticipate what our refund expense is going to be over the course of a year?
We do budget a line item for refunds because we know we're gonna get into, I know, especially for some of the commercial properties, they can be a little bit higher due to some of the reassessments.
Right.
Yeah.
And that could be a major vulnerability, like if one of the big commercial, like you said, the big commercial
Yeah.
properties gets reassessed.
We do try to anticipate it whenever I get that information. I was forwarded that so she could take it into consideration when we're doing our budgets.
Okay. The other question I had. Page 6. It's like Genlore Integrations LLC IT Services.
Yes,
It's the same amount.
it's our service contract with them.
It's the exact same amount twice. Is that correct?
We probably are behind on the payment.
What says
Where
April?
is it? Just trying to see what page you on?
Page 6.
Oh, it's split between the admin and police. So it's four.
We just split it, we split it evenly?
Evenly.
Okay. And then Lennon Smith, just miscellaneous tasks that. Aren't there? What would that be?
So like if they're working on a grant application, not for anything specific, if they're doing, they might put miscellaneous tasks under our work in progress meetings.
Okay.
That we do monthly.
And then my last one. Is. Scrolling through here. That's to do with the pool in the meeting that we had. We received an invoice
Yes,
for that meeting, which. I find to be extraordinarily high.
well, I think it was for the development of documents and whatnot as
So
well.
there was a separate line item. So presentation documents, 2,980. attend meeting and presentation, $3,547. That just seems to be extraordinarily high, and
Well, they did have to travel from the east side of the state.
in a jet.
No, I'm just saying time and mileage, whatever. So most of those fees were outlined in the contract that we approved from them back in 2021.
So I thought we paid them. I thought we paid them. I thought it was a flat fee.
So the total on that, I believe, and again, it was 3 years ago, I believe it was about $45,000, of which we have only expended so far, I want to say up to maybe about 30 and some change,
So then we have that budgeted. Why is it coming out of the bond fund here?
because it's for the pool. Because that's all that money for anything. any
Anything,
expenses
so
on the
that,
pool.
that contract that we had with them previously was coming out of the bond fund?
Absolutely.
So wait, that, they were trying to sell us their services.
Right.
And
That's what I'm having a hard
so like,
time.
when I go to, when I try to sell construction jobs, and I go and I leave an estimate and I start charging customers, oh, you owe me $5,000 for telling me how much. I can't believe
We
that,
haven't,
Dave.
we're voting tonight.
I thought that
It
yeah.
just, it seems,
So I will tell you though, the services that they provided were a part of the contract that we signed with them in 2021. And, you know, that, a lot of that stuff was to be done back then. It was not. And I will say they didn't raise their hourly since 2021. So and it's part of the things that were outlined in that contract. So.
And then all the
But I don't
designs they
think-
presented, we gave our own design. We're like, wait, why don't we do it this way?
but we had already paid for those.
Ron, that's not entirely true. You did not design your own
entirely,
pool.
but partially true. That's why you didn't say it's totally not untrue. So it's partially true. Partially true.
The
I'm just
reason why,
shocked. I can't believe
No,
at a
that's
sales
not
meeting,
true.
they're charging us to
So-
sell their services.
And I do not, I think they came to present and talk at a public meeting. They attended actually 2 meetings. They attended the public facilities meeting. I can't remember the date of that. So that's obviously they prepped for that and developed some of the plans and tweaked some of the plans.
I just think because tonight we're voting on a proposal from them
Right,
to use them as our design service.
right.
I think we should look back at that contract and make sure that we haven't overpaid that contract.
We definitely have not overpaid what, because I'm almost positive the amount of that contract was like 40 and some change. We initially paid.
So then it sounds like,
100, and then we paid a couple bills.
I just think it's worth some reconciliation. That just seems extraordinarily high, $6,527 for that meeting. Prepare the
It
document.
wasn't
and
just for
attend.
that meeting, though.
That's
was
what it
for-
says.
It was for 2 meetings. There were 2 meetings. There was one with public facilities to prepare the documents for that. And then I think we had a couple
But it doesn't-
additional.
I'm just saying, I'm just reading it from what I can see.
Right.
It says attend meeting and presentation. It doesn't say attend 2 meetings. It says attend meeting and presentation. Which was,
You're looking at the actual invoice, so you're just looking at what's on there.
It's the bond fund on page.
Yeah.
the bond fund on page.
Yeah, so I think it would be worth it to.
That's what I'm at. Let's,
Yeah.
if we could do some reconciliation. Make sure we're not overpaying this extraordinarily high invoice for 1 meeting.
And which I
That
thought
is-
was a sales.
I thought it
No,
was a sales
that
meeting
was a
too.
workshop meeting. It wasn't a sales meeting.
They were pitching us
They were
the entire time.
Presenting out their services to us. It was a sales pitch.
Yeah.
They were presenting the research that they've
Yeah, I
done, that
know.
we hired them to do.
Right, that
That's
we
not
had
a sales
hired them
pitch,
to
not the
do.
report.
And they took our feedback.
Then why do we? If we already have a contract with them. And we haven't. They haven't fully executed that contract because you said we haven't paid them in full on that first contract. Why are we negotiating another contract with?
That contract wasn't for that contract wasn't for the development of bid specifications and design the actual documents. It was for, reviewing, going out to the pool, looking at the pool, developing concepts that they believe could work for that site. That's what that was for. And they were the lesser of the 2 options that we had to go with.
It's Boyer, right? BO.
Aquatic facility design.
Let's see if I have that. I'm pretty sure I have that contract. saved.
So the contract that's in the packet we have today is for the actual implementation of a final design and the installation of the pool,
All the,
working with this
all of the final design, and that's not
So
just
it's a
his fees, that's
separate
fees
project.
of
technically.
all of the professionals that go along with the development of those pool specifications.
I'm just, what I want to understand
Sure.
is that we're not getting double charged for work that we've already paid for.
No, so if we would approve the contract tonight, that now begins that contract. The contract that we already have would be over. And like I said, I want to say it was in and around $40-some thousand. I can't remember because it was 3 years ago. But our initial fee from him was only 23,000. And then there was a separate fee, which was not included in his original proposal because we wanted them to do the core boards. And that was like, I think it was like $6,900 maybe. And so then this, what we're talking about now, this is kind of, he billed us based on the numbers, the hourlies that he gave us back in 2021.
There we go.
So going forward, if we were to approve the contract tonight, that goes away and this now starts, two different things. Because we had two proposals back then. One was from Wallover and one was from Aquatic Facility Design.
What a AFD.
Wait, we had two proposals for two different companies to
Good.
attend that workshop.
No,
No, back in 2020.
No, did not. When they first designed the concepts.
in 2021.
So here we go. I have it.
Wrong.
We have investigative, this is back in 2021. Total design services, $55,000. So. Did we pay, you're saying we did not pay that $55,000?
23,000, I think, and I have to go back and look, Dave, because it's obviously that was 3 years ago, but I believe his initial invoice that we paid him was $23,000, not 55.
The contract that we signed is $55,000. The core borings were an additional 6,900.
Yeah, it makes that.
It is, according to this contract.
Yeah,
Pressure testing, which I don't think we do that?
yeah, I think that was part of the core boards.
No, that's an additional 5,600.
Oh, no, that we didn't do that.
And so part of that 55, that's all I'm asking is, can we confirm what we paid on this initial contract? The
Yes,
55,000, because in here it says it's the design phase. It's generation up to 3 concept designs of a new wading pool with features of renovation, blah, blah, blah.
yeah, they did. I think they ended up doing in total 11 different designs.
Well, we didn't agree to it. They did that on their own in that meeting. So we're paying for things that we may have already paid for. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I never thought I thought they were trying to sell us to get to this point of awarding them a contract, where I thought they did a good job. We might as well go with them, we'll award them a contract. I mean, what? So everyone that comes up to try to present something to us, they're gonna send us a bill? I mean, that's.
Well, and I don't think that's the case because we were already under contract with them and we
And
had
we
been
paid
working
them.
with them
We
to
paid
develop.
them.
But they did work since then.
Not, s-
There were
They're
3,
trying to sell us, their company to do our designs and to manage the construction. Just like, we could have had 3 different companies there at that meeting, seeing whose design was the best. Just because we only had one didn't mean we were hard, like.
If I can interject here, being on the Public Property Committee and being in the Zoom meeting, I believe it was late February, when we met with Aquatic Design. I was under the impression that the Public Property Committee had recommended to bring them in for a workshop meeting to go over proposed designs for options of the pool, which was, in my opinion, not them pitching a sale,
Well,
but what services and what options they could provide us within the budget that we.
that's not my contention. My contention is we already have a contract with them.
Correct.
In the contract, there is a scope of services and deliverables, which include design development, up to 2 meetings to discuss goals, design, and objectives. Site visits are required to document existing conditions. Construction documents, 3 sets of plans, cost estimate with base bid and alternate bids. 1 progress meeting if applicable, construction drawings, up to 3 sets of plans and specifications, cost estimate with bid and add alternates, 1 progress meeting if applicable. 4.0 bid documents, bid administration, 3 sets of plans with specifics in PDF format, 10 pre-bid meeting. So we're already engaged in a contract with this firm.
That's the original
It's the
contract.
original
Yeah,
contract.
2000.
So what we're doing
From
is
two-
renewing
From
it
two
in a
thousand
different.
twenty-one, which we never followed through with. We had them do the
We paid them
original
under the-
designs. We did the original designs and then we're 3 years out now, Dave. That was 3 years ago. We did
All I'm
not follow
asking-
through with that
All
contract.
I'm asking is that we reconcile what we have paid under this
Yes.
contract from twenty
I
twenty-one.
can absolutely give you that.
My concern is that if we vote to pay them tonight, we're double paying them on services that were already paid for. That is my concern.
But I have what they gave us. What they gave us is not what they're about to do. We do not have, we never.
I'm not
followed
talking
through.
about what they're about to do. I'm talking about what they have already done and what we are about to vote on to pay them. We have this contract from 2021 that outlines the services very similar, in fact, exactly what they're invoicing us this month.
Right,
So,
Have we
that was-
already paid them?
yeah.
so what,
23,000.
what we're trying to get to,
The initial work.
But this is part of the initial work. It says it right here, Judy.
Dave, I can certainly ask him, we're not, and I could tell you at least where we landed last with the Public Facilities Committee. Not one of the concepts that he presented are of any interest, and I think that was clear from our meeting on April the 8th. Not
Well,
one
he
of them.
presented, that's a
It
different
was
issue. That's
three,
a-
I think he was presenting, he laid out over the existing pool and the existing land, what we could maybe do, conceptual. ideas.
so
I'm not,
question,
I'm not arguing that.
Dave, I think what you're trying to get at, and I think we keep circling around. If we can segment out those 2 payments,
I want.
so
to-
you have the backup on
Very
that,
specific.
then we can move.
Let me
to
be
the
very
rest of the
specific.
items.
This is what I want to. I want to know how much to date, not including
Yes,
this invoice, how much we have paid aquatic facility design.
Okay.
And of whatever that amount is, what did that cover?
yes.
Because again, my concern is that we have already paid for the services that they're invoicing us for in April of 2024.
Just one question. It said in the original contract, you said it said 2 meetings
It-
for the design phase, correct?
For the design phase,
Which is as far as we've gotten with them to date, correct?
right,
And that's from 2021.
2021.
So if we had more, I guess my question is if it's not in the contract, if we had more than 2 meetings with them since 2021, would they charge us additionally? I guess that's the question we have to find out too as well, correct?
Based on what, like, they can just, did we know that they were gonna charge us $6,000?
That's a question.
No, I thought we were under this first contract and now we're gonna move on to the second contract.
We're only talking about the first contract right now.
Exactly.
And maybe this
I thought
invoice,
We already paid for this, but we never had the workshop yet. I mean, in all honesty, when we wanted to have a bond. We had 3 different people come and meet with us and present, okay, we can do this for you for your bond. Well, all 3 of them, we decided on one company, the Bank of Canada, but the other 2 companies didn't charge us to tell us what they could
well,
do for
we
us.
kind of did that in 2021. We
Well,
did
you
have
did that,
multiple,
What?
we met with Boyer and
All over,
Walk.
all over.
Yeah, we met with 2, maybe even 3. Just two?
two.
Okay.
I was totally under the impression this was contract number one and
No, we already have a contract
that,
with this.
no, that meeting, they were under contract number one to finally
That's,
present the designs that we paid for
that's what.
back in 2021. And then if we decide to go with them, they just, their sales pitch there was pretty good that we decided.
That's what I'm at.
to go with them.
Yep.
Exactly.
Hold on, this is too general for my mind. What needs to be done? If I understand things correctly, you gotta look at contract A, look at the terms, look at the conditions,
Right.
look at the provisions. You have to look at contract B, look at the terms, look at the conditions, look what was paid, what was it paid for, and then make a determination based on the specific language of the two contracts, comparing them, whether there's overlap, what was paid for. So you just can't, we can argue all day on these generalizations, but this is a fact-specific, contract-specific inquiry.
And it's invoice specific too, Mayor, like we.
Correct. I said we have to look at the invoices,
Right.
right? I mean, so we
can
can't answer that question. We
can
can't
we-
answer these questions just off the cuff.
hold those two invoices out of this,
I can hold them.
hold
I can
those two
hold the
invoices
payment.
till we
Right.
have the information and approve the rest of the invoices that are currently in.
They
this.
are billed based on time spent. And the attending. of
Just for
those
clarification
meetings.
though, so everybody's comfortable with that, let's do that. How
There
do we
were
do that?
multiple meetings back in 21 before
I'm sure there
to
were,
produce the work that they did before, so.
there've been meetings. How many meetings have you had this year with them? Prior to
A
the,
lot of phone conversations, just
Right.
going back and forth, talking about, just a variety of things with the pool.
So I mean, do they want to do business with us or do we want to do business with them? Are they trying to sell us their services?
we've already purchased their services, we contracted with them.
But you're under no obligation.
So that's why I don't think it's a sales pitch when they came to that meeting, they were
just-
giving us what we asked them to make.
And just to be
That's the whole
clear,
point.
we're under no obligation
It's-
to use this company, but we are pretty far down the road with them. If we want to do
I am not
RFP,
questioning the
Yeah.
company. What I'm
Yeah.
just questioning the invoice.
right?
Okay, so how do we hold those, do we have
Well, I
to do a
can-
specific motion to hold those?
I have no, I can hold the check, it's not a
So
problem.
that meeting was an hour
Send it
and a
out.
half.
Are we
They charged
comfortable-
us, what, $6,000?
No, Ron,
So-
there was, no, they did not charge us $6,000 for one meeting. There were multiple meetings, there've been multiple phone calls. It's just, I'm sure an attorney, the mayor can speak to the fact that Jake, when you're on the phone with a client, you're billing hourly. You're time in, time out. So, he's not gonna have, conversation with us talking through concepts or whatnot, or, the evening meeting, they charge travel, they charge mileage, they charge all that.
They charge $130 an hour.
An hour, yes.
I mean, my recommendation is if council wants me to, I'll look at contract A, I'll look at contract B,
I'll already reviewed them.
okay, I'll look at the payments. And give an opinion, and then Kate can look at it just for a double check. I don't know if she compared the two contracts or if she was ever asked to compare contract A with contract B. So I would compare contract A with contract B, compare the payments, give my opinion as mayor, and then Kate can take a look at it and then council can decide.
I think right now the biggest concern is just holding those two invoices and we can move forward.
Yes, in the meantime, are we happy? Are we satisfied with the fact that the borough manager will hold those two invoices? Or
Yes, I'm happy with that.
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm also, I want to hold the invoices. I want to do the reconciliation against previous contract and previous invoices. And I'd also like, if they're charging us $130 an hour, I'd like a little bit more clarification on if we haven't paid for the line items in this current invoice, like a little bit more detail. If it's more than one meeting, I'd like to know that because at $130 an hour,
Yeah.
well, then I want more detail because that's 30 hours to attend a meeting and make a presentation for a 2-hour meeting. I just want additional
That-
clarity.
that They just.
Maybe they're charging us, maybe their mileage, they're using that same mileage scale as other people use.
Time and whatnot, and I can tell you, even like when we had talked about if they're to be, doing the work on the pole, he even suggested, I would not suggest we do. The day-to-day, week-to-week inspections, because you'd be paying us to come from the middle part of the state to your town. You don't want to do that. So
Well-
that's why Leonard Smith would be doing that type of work.
Okay, well, that's a whole other,
So we have a
Issue.
motion and a second, and we would be happy to hold, the borough manager would hold those two invoices per a analysis on the original contract. And whatever little details, whatever
so I'm at,
whatever you'd like to do on that one. But the issue right now is we have a motion to pass everything and we will hold those invoices until there is.
The checks, right?
Yes. So other than that, is there anything else? We good to, we have a motion and a second, we good to vote? Okay,
let me just make sure I didn't have any other notes here. I think that was the last thing in that. Yep, I'm good.
okay. Therefore, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor?
Bye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Next, I would move that we adopt resolution 1344, formalizing the policy for holding an executive session.
Second,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, if not like a roll call vote. Ken?
Mr. Carosi,
No?
Ms. Barron,
No.
Mr. Panza,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
yes.
Mr. Romanovich,
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz,
No,
Mr. Satori.
No. Who would have got there?
Would be 3 yeas, 4 nays.
Pardon me?
3 yeas, 4 nays.
Okay. So that motion passed. Or then motion is, yes.
I have a suggestion in regard to a revised motion that executive session, when 3 members request an executive session, it be scheduled at the next business meeting or workshop meeting unless 3 members who request the executive session requested it be within 5 days. In other words, normally an executive session would be at the next business or workshop session, which we have 18 during the year, 12 regular, 6 workshop. But if 3 members specifically request, all 3 members have to specifically request, then we go with this language that it be scheduled within 5 business days.
Well, I think next month, if you want to put something like that together, we just had a 4-3 vote for this one, but certainly next month, if you want to come up with something different or whatever, we bring before council, that's fine.
I can do it next month. I just thought we
Whatever.
could do it. now.
I just think we just voted this one down.
I'd like to know, for those of you that voted no, why? I just honestly just want to know your rationale.
honestly, we haven't had a chance to meet, to even look at it. It was thrown at us this week.
What?
We haven't,
We've been talking about this for 6 months. The solicitor emailed it to us months ago. It went to the finance committee. I brought it to everybody's, I brought the
it's
request.
been changed multiple
It
times
has
and
not been changed multiple times. This is the exact version that the solicitor provided us. It went to the finance committee where there was going to be discussion about it. I'd like to know why you voted no.
because we haven't had a chance to discuss it,
Why?
because we haven't had a meeting.
Why?
I don't know. We haven't been able to get everyone together.
Unbelievable. Mr. Trosi, could you explain why you voted no?
I made my vote.
What, Miss? Miss
Move on.
Schwartz.
The motion failed.
Presented
Time to
again.
move on.
Not, Miss Schwartz says that
Discussion came.
she
it
voted
went.
no because she didn't have enough information and that your committee is unable to meet. Is that true?
We've made our votes.
No, I'm asking,
We're moving
I'm
on.
not asking about the vote now.
This
Her
isn't
reason,
something I'm going to discuss
in
with you
public?
in this meeting.
What?
It's
I-
not on the agenda. If you want to discuss something
I
with
think you
me
should
in
be
private, you
transparent
can
with
go
the
ahead.
residents of this community and telling them why your committee is not meeting. To discuss things that are on the agenda. You brought it on the agenda. It's under your.
I
committee.
did not bring it
We
on
did
the
not
agenda.
place this on
It
the
was
agenda.
placed on the agenda currently at your request.
Months ago. And you said that you were gonna meet in committee to discuss it and provide feedback.
And
And Ms.
I've made my recommendations to the committee members
Great, Ms.
and
Schwartz said that
we'll come up with
Ms. Schwartz.
a resolution for that when it's complete.
Great, new topic. Ms. Schwartz just said that your committee is not meeting.
We
Why?
haven't met this month, no.
What about last month? Or the month before, or the month before that? This has been a topic for months. Why haven't you discussed it?
Well, we were waiting, I believe, before for Kate to get back.
No, she got back to us months ago.
No, there was a change to that.
There was not.
There was.
There wasn't. Well, is it because there was a change or you haven't had time to meet?
We haven't been able to meet.
That's uncalled for. That is
Well,
uncalled for.
that's your opinion.
I think
I would
I
like to move on to the next,
haven't had
issue.
time to meet.
okay,
And you're the general finance committee and you're not meeting? The public safety committee meets once a month. The planning commission meets twice a month. And you don't have time to meet for the finance and general policy committee. That is unbelievable.
okay.
Of all the unbelievable things that have happened on this council over the past year, that tops it right there.
Okay. Like to move on to infrastructure?
It's no
Mr.
wonder
Juan.
that there's no discussion. When we talk about things, you're not saying anything. You sit there silent. As the chair of the Finance and General Policy Committee. It's
I'd like to please
unbelievable.
move on, that you can discuss that issue.
I'm discussing it in public. Because nobody else has time to meet, so I have to discuss things in public.
Some of us were out of town because we had family members die, David.
Emily, we're talking months. Months since January. It is now May.
Well, if you'd like to put a proposal together for next month, that's.
I did, it's right in front of you.
Well, we voted it down, so that.
Because you haven't had time to meet to discuss it.
Okay, the issue is, it was voted down. We've got to move on to the next, we're not solving anything by just throwing.
If you could at
things
least
that-
tell me why you voted it down so that I could go back and make the changes. Not having time to meet doesn't help me.
I think by voting it down must mean that they weren't in agreement with it, and
I'm
that's.
trying to understand why. Help me understand why so we can make the.
I don't know if we have, that was basically what, if anyone wants to, but that's what happened. So we need to move on. If you'd like to have a proposal for next month.
I
by all
need,
means.
I need information because my proposal is
Well-
the exact same.
Well, then I'll have to see if you can get it through, but we're moving on to the next item because we'll be here all
Lack of
night.
transparency.
You can't ask people for anything. if
I
they
can't
don't
ask
wanna-
people the reason
If
why they.
they
voted for something
don't
in
want,
public.
if people don't want to give you an answer,
Great,
it's the way it is.
remember that.
Make sure you remember it over there. Okay, let's move on to infrastructure. Mr. Romanovich.
Thank you, Mr. President. Holiday Drive Stormwater Improvement Project. I move that we authorize repair to the storm sewer and catch basin on Holiday Drive in accordance with the borough manager's correspondence dated May 3rd, 2024, and all supporting documentation provided by the borough engineer.
Second,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
You could restate the amount, just in the motion, the estimated cost.
The total cost for all work that needs to be done, estimated cost, is $1.4 million. The cost for this specific part of the project is an estimated $149,000.
Thank you.
And I believe that has already been worked into the budget. Is that correct?
There's money in the budget for this, yes.
Correct. And the engineer, just for the record, the engineer is recommending that we do this portion of the repair. The money's tight for the entire, we're waiting for funding, is my understanding. but he thinks that we should do this. This is a repair to a portion of it now, correct?
Correct. This is that to repair the worst part of that storm conveyance system at Holiday Drive.
Right. I mean, it's a complete repair for that portion, not just the Band-Aid for that
Correct. It
portion.
is complete R not.
Right.
Remove and replace, yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
So we do have a motion and a second, correct? And
Correct.
any additional discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. President. Storm sewer repair in Whiskey Run. I move that we authorize the repair to a Whiskey Run storm sewer culvert in accordance to the borough manager's correspondence dated May 3rd, 2024, and the supporting documentation provided by the borough engineer.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Again, just the cost for the record.
Yes, I'm sorry,
50.
yeah.
Yeah, the estimated cost for this work is between $50,000 and $60,000. I believe this is going to be work performed by Colosimo under the blanket contract.
That is correct.
Is the, so in the picture that you sent over, Ms. Miller, the purple highlighted section is what needs to be replaced?
But yeah, I'm sure that's not that.
Yes.
Yes.
And then the other dotted line going to the next red diamond, is that
Sorry, I'm black and white.
Right here.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys.
that's the north section of the property? The purple is what's,
being replaced.
and then it looks like that culvert goes into the driveway.
Yes,
And
it does.
continues on.
Yes.
That does not need repaired?
No, we do not believe so.
What do you mean?
I think the problem with what is highlighted in purple is that it is exposed. It's not in any way, it's been repaired once before and it's just in need of a second repair. But no, we do not observe any damage underneath the driveway.
Okay.
Okay. So we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. We'll now move on to public facilities. Ms. Barron?
Yes, Wilson Pool Aquatic Facility Design, Aquatic Design Services Proposal. I move that we authorize the borough manager to execute a contract with Aquatic Facility Design Incorporated, subject to the review of the borough solicitor, as the aquatic architect to provide design services in accordance with the borough manager's memorandum dated May 3rd, 2024.
Second.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I guess the only point I would make is that based on our previous conversation, as long as those invoices are reconciled.
Yeah, I think that would be, that will get taken care of. We'll be able to do that before we enlist in this next part.
Right, so the contract, if we had I guess it doesn't matter if we had already paid for it, we just won't pay those outstanding invoices. This
Yeah,
won't
I
impact this new.
I don't see it as overlap, but I
Okay.
can.
There's one, I think the one deliverable, there might be a little, the design phase, there might be some overlap there.
Potentially, I'll talk to him about that.
Okay.
And I can tell you that Kate did look at the contract and she did provide him with a red line document and he had no issue with any of Kate's suggestions. So at least I think that's a good sign. And then his fee would be based on a maximum based on the design that we picked as opposed to basing it on the construction costs, which the way pricing is these days, I think that should probably work in our favor.
So what is the hourly rate this contract's based on?
There wasn't an.
$130 an hour.
That was the prior one.
That was the prior.
That was the one we
This
just had them.
contract,
come in
this
to-
contract's based on approximately 8% of the estimated construction value
I thought
of
I
the project.
I thought I read in there.
But but if, for instance, so he's basing it on the concepts that we,
It says it right in here, $130 an hour.
okay, is it, I couldn't remember if that was in this one.
Additional services,
Okay,
scope beyond the services
Yeah.
meeting.
That's additional, not
Yeah.
Well,
what's included.
I think it would be if we had him constantly coming out here, like if Lennon Smith didn't want to do any of the construction management, the day-to-day, which is not included in this because he is not located in Pittsburgh.
That's
it's the signature page, right,
signature page.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. for additional services.
Yeah.
Additional services, $130 an hour.
Yeah.
So that would be above and beyond
What's in the
the
contract?
292,000 for, I think it's important to note in this contract, design fees for the pool will not exceed $360,000 based on a $4.5 million project estimate.
Right.
So if you take $360,000 and you divide it by 130.
But I can say one that that's not all just his
So
hourly
he's looking
rate.
at working $2,769.
That's not how, no. He has several subcontractors
I
in
understand.
areas of expertise that are beyond what he is licensed to do.
Who is environmental planning and design associated? What, how,
They are part of a company that he works with that will do a lot of the environmental, a lot of the landscape design and just, everything outside of the actual pool mechanics and design of the pool mechanics, everything on the outside.
that's included in this contract?
Yes. I asked that same question, so.
Any further discussion? Therefore, I would like to, we have a motion, we have a second, I'd like to have a vote, all in favor? Opposed? Abstained? The motion carries. Now also, we will make sure it carries, but making sure that there's no duplication, that's understood.
Right.
So, but at least make that for the record, that it would be looked at to make sure there's no duplication,
Thank you.
and it's a separate contract. Thank you. Okay, that's it. We'll move on to Public Safety, Mr. Ray.
Just lost my spot. Okay, public safety, like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 1898, adopting the Civil Service Commission rules and regulations. Civil Service Commission met. And they decided to change the requirement for Act 120 so that candidates are qualified. If they need to have their Act 120, the time the eligibility list is confirmed by the Civil Service Commission. Previously, they had to have it at time of application. So this motion is approving that change in the Civil Service rules and regulations. So to formally read it, I move that we pass ordinance number 1898, repealing in its entirety ordinance number 1887 and the Civil Service rules and regulations adopted therein. Restating, amending, and adopting in their entirety the rules and regulations of the Civil Service Commission of the Borough of Green Tree as specifically set forth in the attached Exhibit A.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yes, just very briefly, I went to the Civil Service Commission meeting. It was on Thursday, 7:30 a.m. on May 2nd. I attended that, as did Chief Ranigan. David Ray, he's chairman of Public Safety Committee. He had attended the previous Public Safety Committee meeting. There were 4 different suggested changes to the rules and regulation of the Public Safety Committee. David Ray just mentioned the 120 training. Every police officer for Green Tree has to have 120 training. That's at the police academy. So that this change is, when do they have to have the 120 training? Before, it was at time of application, whenever you applied. Now it's at a later date. You can apply when you're still in the police academy before you have the 120 training, and then get the 120 training, graduate from the police academy after you apply to Green Tree. And you can get your training, but you have to have it by the time the eligibility list is approved. There were 3 other suggested changes that were discussed by the Public Safety Committee. In Rule 401, the sequence of the selection process, it's spelled out A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Before, it wasn't, it was all in the civil service rules. Nothing was changed in the process. Now there's a cheat sheet. So they put a cheat sheet in from A to J. So that's a change that you're voting on tonight in Rule 401. There were 2 other suggested changes to the Public Safety Committee. Civil Service Commission. The passing on the oral exam, you have to get 75%. It was recommended that they lower the written pass level to 70%. The civil service wants to keep it at 75%, and what you're voting on tonight keeps it at 75%. The other change was on the oral exam. Right now, the oral exam, you have to get a 75%. There was a recommendation to lower it to 70%, but the Civil Service Commission said, let's keep it at 75%. So what you're voting on tonight still keeps it at 75%. So basically, what you're voting on tonight is the same rules and regulations, except for 2 changes. The Act 120 training, with Mr. Ray and I explained, and the sequence of the selection process, which is still the same sequence, but you have a cheat sheet. So sorry, but
Thanks for the assist. I appreciate it.
but anyhow, since I went to the meeting,
Yeah.
if I get up at 7:30, you gotta listen to me for a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, any further discussion? If not, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
You know,
sorry, go ahead.
the intent of this change is to try to encourage more applicants coming to Green Tree for a police officer opening.
Yes, right. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Romanovich.
Yes.
Ms. Schwartz.
Yes.
Mr. Carlson.
Yes.
Ms. Bailey.
yes,
Mr. Panza.
Yes.
Mr. Tintori.
Yes. The ordinance passes.
Thank you. I also want to make a motion to authorize the Civil Service Commission to start the process for development of an eligibility list of Green Tree police officer candidates.
Second.
You wanna?
Yeah.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
Yeah, so the purpose of this, as the Civil Service Commission has done in the past, this initiates the process to start hiring additional police officers.
Or start a new list? Towards that end.
Towards that end.
Correct.
Just a
Yes, sure.
comment.
Go ahead.
At the Civil Service Commission meeting, just to give you some background, about 4 or 5 months ago, we had asked the Civil Service Commission to certify a list. So what they did, they went through the whole process. They reviewed applications. They did the physical ability exam with all the candidates. They did a written exam with the candidates. They did an oral exam. Then there was a polygraph exam, and there was a background investigation. And after they did all that, they decided to only certify one of the candidates, the council to interview. So they went through this whole process. They were only able to come up with to certify one candidate. Candidates are just, there's not as many candidates. It's not just Green Tree. There's not as many people applying nowadays to be police officers for various reasons. So anyhow, they did certify one, but before council was able to interview that one certified candidate, the candidate withdrew. So after 4 or 5 months going through all those steps, we're back to square zero, ground zero. So now the Civil Service Commission has to start the process all over again. They have to prepare, they have to send out the applications. They have to review, we sent out the applications, but they have to review the applications, the physical ability exam, written exam, moral exam, polygraph exam, and background investigation. So we're still 4 or 5 months down the road before they certify us, the council, a new list. So what council's voting on tonight is to certify, is to request the Civil Service Commission to start the process to certify some more candidates by jumping through all those steps for council to interview. And the Civil Service Commission, they did on May 2nd, they did say they would start the process to prepare a new list if directed by council. So if council directs them today, the process is already going to be started as of tomorrow, because the Civil Service Commission said they'd start the process if directed tonight. So I just wanted to give that background. You knew some of you knew we already we're trying to get a list together. Wanted to let you know what happened to the prior list, why we're starting from ground zero. And just one last comment I was going to make later on. Right now, we're down to 7 officers, including Acting Chief Brannigan. So we have 7 officers. We really should have 10 officers. So things are a little bit hard pressed right now for the officers. There's a lot of overtime for the officers, but the Acting Chief Brannigan is dealing with that. Thank you for your indulgence.
Thank you. Okay. There's no further discussion. I'd like to we have a motion in a second. I'd like to have a vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion to authorize civil service for a list passes.
And then the third item on the list, we have a vacancy on the Civil Service Commission. It's the alternate position. The Public Safety Committee interviewed Mr. Matt Reynolds. And we'd like to move that we appoint Mr. Matt Reynolds to fill that Civil Service Commission alternate vacancy for a term to expire on March 5th, 2030.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? That motion passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Ray. Move on to the mayor's report, Mr. Schenk.
Okay, thank you. Staying with the police department in regard to advertising for a new position. The police department came up with a couple of recommendations in regard to advertising. One is the Lamar billboard on the Parkway. The police department is seeing if we can get that billboard to advertise, to put up a notice that we're looking for police applications in Green Tree. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of people pass that billboard. It's very costly, but we may be able to convince Lamar to do it for a very minimal amount to put up such an advertisement. So unless council has any objection to putting notice on a billboard that we're making applications, if the police department is able to arrange that, I think that's one good way to do advertisements. Another thing that the police department throwing out there, would we want to give a bonus, a signing bonus to the person we hire, like $5,000? That would have to be approved by council. Like I said, candidates are very hard to come by. Incentives. They're also thinking about doing an open house once they get the applications, to invite the candidates to come to see what our facilities are like, to meet the other officers and see what equipment we have. So they're trying to think outside the box on the advertisement, the open house, and on the billboard. Another thing is part-time officer. Part-time officers are always also very difficult to come by. But I think that we'd be remiss if we didn't at least attempt to see if there's any part-time officers to help fulfill. Right now, we have 7 officers and we have 6 shifts a day. So I would think that we should advertise for a part-time officer, come up with the wording. I think we'd have to check with our labor solicitor in regard to, whether the process, whether we're going to do a background check, We did have a part-time officer about 4 years ago. He was a retired city of Pittsburgh policeman. He worked out well, but then he decided to move on. So we're not looking for someone long-term, but I think we should at least advertise, and this council thinks otherwise, for a part-time officer. It may not be successful, but I think it's at least worth looking for, considering our current circumstances. In regard to sergeant, we are going to hire a sergeant. There's 2 candidates that have already taken the written test. There's going to be an oral exam. There'll be 2 police chiefs from other municipalities and 2 members of the Civil Service Commission will interview those 2 candidates. The 2 candidates for sergeant already work for the police department, so this would be a promotion. We would then have we'd then have a chief, once we get a chief, and a sergeant. And right now we have a lieutenant, but the lieutenants might be the chief. So we'll have to see how that works out. So moving on to a couple other things. The first farmers market event is May 16th, Thursday. That's coming up very shortly. I didn't realize it till tonight, but there's 24 Thursdays that they have farmers market. So the first farmers market, I think, is going to have a pizza truck. So hopefully the farmers market recreation committee, Luann and Chris Short that are here, they work hard on that. So that's going to get off the ground very shortly. I had mayor's office hours back on April 6th. I'm going to have them again on June 22nd. And that Sheldon Avenue water condition was brought up as indicated at the meeting back on April 6th. So I think those were good ideas that some people, Aldo mentioned that he contacted Representative Deasy. He's looking to file complaint form with the Public Utility Commission. But I think that the borough, I don't know if we have to pass a resolution, but we should at least contact the water company and try to push them on those 2 years. Sometimes the squeaky wheel gets oiled. So if council's in agreement, I think it's at least worth a call or written communication saying the water company, say, could you expedite this or at least move it up on the 2-year list? A couple other things here. The park at Park Edge in Sheldon. I know there's going to be, I think, a report about Rook Park. Rook Park is getting upgraded, but I don't want to steal everybody's thunder. But anyhow, Park Edge in Sheldon, I went down there, looked at the gazebo. The gazebo's not in the best of shape, so maybe we should next after Rook, we should look at Park Edge in Sheldon Park to see the condition of the gazebo and maybe upgrade that park. So I'm glad we're doing Rook, but in the continuation of the upgrades, look at Park Edge and Sheldon. A couple things has already been mentioned, the Garden Club event, which includes also a craft show here at the Borough Building, and that's on May 11th coming up. A couple other things. There's been vehicle break-ins in the neighborhood, in my neighborhood in particular, Greenridge Lane, and there's also a stolen vehicle on Greenridge Lane. It's just a recommendation, keep your keys, don't leave your key in the car, and keep your vehicle locked, because that facilitated those break-ins and the stolen vehicle. Couple other things now be done. I did stop in Chipotle's. That's a new business. I just stopped in to introduce myself, not to get any free food. I'd already eaten dinner. I was offered free food, but I turned it down. But I met with the manager. He was real nice. He was approximately 30-year-old guy, went to Keystone Oaks. He insisted upon washing his hands so he could shake my hand. So that I welcomed him to Green Tree, but a very, very nice guy. I'm glad that the volunteer fire company is happy with the upgrades that we have done. And then one other thing here, there was a mail carrier on Park Edge in Sheldon, and the borough resident did send me the letter that she wrote to the borough residents. Just going to read a portion of her letter. It is with a heavy heart I'm writing you today. I have loved my job for the last 6 years, and I have especially loved the last 5 walking the awesome neighborhood of Sheldon and Park Edge. So many amazing families I got to meet and get to know. I've unfortunately got a diagnosis that won't allow me to return to work. I wish I had the time and I still might be able to say goodbye to everyone in person and not a letter. Please pass the word and let everyone know how much I miss them, and to let everyone know how much I appreciate everyone taking care of me. Keep me in your prayers, maybe a bit extra for a little bit. Just let everyone know that I said thank you for being a part of my life for the past 5 years. I have loved every minute of it. With prayers, Brandy. So that's a very nice letter from a mail carrier that for 5 years, she really liked the people on Park Edge and Sheldon. I anticipate that they liked her very much. It's very unfortunate that she would never be able to return to her job as a mail carrier due to her diagnosis. But I did want to give her, as requested by one of the borough residents, to give her some recognition and recognize the people on Park Edge and Sheldon for obviously being very nice to her. I'm sure I forgot something, but I shall move on at this point. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to report of our committees. And we'll move on to finance and general policy first. Mr. Troisi.
I have no report.
Thank you very much. Move on to
I
infrastructure.
have a question about the finance and general policy, the handbook. I think that unfortunately Kate's not here, but I think that's on her desk, or is that complete?
No, it's actually, so we started that process with Kate before we had Labor Council. So we're also having Sean take a look at it.
Okay.
That's with Sean right now.
And what about the peer reviews? That's next month is gonna be a year.
I was gonna suggest if we want, if we're gonna have a workshop meeting on the 20th, we could always do something then. Suggestion.
Yeah.
I just think we need to be mindful that there's a lot of stuff in there that's tied to individuals, and we just want to be careful.
I just want to know what the plan is.
Okay, we'll move on to infrastructure, Mr. Romanovich.
Thank you, Mr. President. Infrastructure Committee met on April 29th, 2024. All 3 members of the committee were present, along with Ms. Miller, the supervisor of public works, and the borough engineers from Lennon Smith. We discussed multiple issues, mostly pertaining to sanitary and storm sewer issues. The Glencoe culvert restoration that we had voted on tonight, the holiday storm sewer project that we voted on tonight. What we were given those specifics on those plans and asked our questions to make sure that we were going down the right course of action for those properties. Bear with me 1 second here. As reported last month, and I might be stepping on the borough manager's toes a little bit here. We only received $247,000 for a DCED multimodal grant for sidewalk improvements along Green Tree Road. That project was estimated at $708,000. I believe the borough manager is going to be working with Lennon Smith to scale back that project as we all explore other funding options for that project. The fiber optic project property damage is pending review and reimbursement. Let the borough manager go into more about that issue. And finally, the one thing that I do want to report on is I have made recommendations to the borough manager to look at putting EV charging stations on borough property. The borough manager has taken steps in regards to that, and I'm happy to report that that was provided to us during our committee meeting. And I will let her go into the specific details in regards to what she's working with the organization Connect. But these will be these EV charging, excuse me. These EV charging stations are under consideration for Green Tree Park, Wilson Pool Social Hall, the Borough Building, and Hale Park. Outside of that, I have nothing else to report, Mr. President, and I yield my time.
Thank you very much.
I have a question. Were the bids open for the street repaving projects?
They were. And they were wonderfully competitive. And they are not on this agenda tonight because we are trying to determine. I'll give you the news now. I would like for council to go a little over budget on this year's road program. That's my initial recommendation, but what we need to sort through is what our anticipated reimbursements will be through the Arla Drive water company. We will get some reimbursements from them, so we're not certain what that will be. So before I make a recommendation for council to award what I think should be done, I want to give you a solid bottom line as to what I think the potential overage could be.
Why would Arla have reimbursements?
So Arla was completely, all of the water lines were completely reconstructed on Arla, and as such, the water company is required to do repaving. So what we do is rather than have them repave it, because they're only required to do like an overlay, as opposed to a lot of times we need base and curbing and everything like that. So just like what we did with the water company, probably it was for, I think, the 2021 road paving program, or maybe 2022. We work with those companies and we calculate what their cost would be. And we just work with them and then they give us a reimbursement. So like when the gas company was over on Victoria Circle, Clifford, and School Street, we received a reimbursement of approximately $90,000 from them that helps offset the cost of the road program for us.
I thought when we passed the curb to curb repaving after utility opened the street, that it was to the specs that we repave the street.
Well, our specs can be whatever is needed for that road. Sometimes the road is in such bad shape, you have to redo the base, and that is not required for that. A full base repair, I think it's only like 1.5 inches.
Okay. Yeah, because you said that they just do a coat, but that's not.
They do, well, to my mind, it's not like a tar chip.
Right.
Yeah, it's an overlay, but a lot of times it's not to the extent that when you're reconstructing a road, you wanted to do it, so it's gonna last another 15, 20 years. So anyway, that's where we're at with that. We're still trying to get to the bottom of what that reimbursement will be. So before, and I talked to Jason, and he had no concerns about awarding the contract at the June, I think it's June 3rd meeting. So that's what it'll be, but I'm just, again, Jason was pleasantly surprised at the competitiveness of the bids. So for instance, last year we received 1 bid. This year we received, I believe, 6. So it's very competitive. The pricing was pretty tight. And I just think that that's an opportunity for us to get some roads done, especially because a lot of them are in close proximity to another. You know, it doesn't make sense to mobilize all that equipment and then leave a road right there that needs done, but not do it because you're short like 50,000. So
Did any of the 6 companies invoice us to put a proposal together?
no, it would have to buy a bid document.
Okay, like to move on to planning and zoning, Ms. Schwartz.
The planning commission is in the 45-day review period for the their comprehensive plan. They did get some feedback from the county already, and that has been sent over to them to review. They have a meeting scheduled Wednesday this week. And we will also be interviewing 2 candidates to fill the vacant position on the planning commission that evening prior to the meeting. And they also have another meeting on the 22nd this month. You'll see in the newsletter coming out once the comprehensive plan review period is over. It will be presented and there'll be a meeting before one of our meetings for the community to comment. But we really hope everyone will go and look at it once it's posted and read it, It's a great way to find out what has been going on in the borough and what the future plans for the borough are. So they've worked really hard, and we hope that all the residents will take time to review this plan that they have worked on that we hope to adopt. And then zoning is planning on meeting on the 23rd, and that's the end of my report.
Thank you very much. Ms. Barron,
Yes, I have a few things.
public facilities.
Hello? Can you hear
No,
me?
I just said public facilities. We hear you.
Yes.
Okay, so a few things. Our committee did meet, on April 29th. All of us were in attendance, that's myself, Mr. Romanovich, Mr. Panda, also, our borough manager and, representatives from Lennon Smith. We did discuss the building restroom renovations. That is the, project that will make our bathrooms in the borough building on the top floor ADA compliant. Consideration will be given to adding a sink into each of the ADA bathroom stalls, so that may not be possible in the sinks might have to be installed outside of those stalls, but one will be ADA compliant. And the project will be put out to bid within the next couple of weeks and then presented to council for contract awarding. The Rook Park Playground, as I updated in our last meeting, that equipment has been ordered. Hopefully we will have it delivered to us within the next 3 to 4 weeks. And the existing play equipment will remain in place until the new equipment is ready to be installed. And as I reported before, Public Works will remove all the existing equipment in preparation for the installation by the equipment provider. I did also want to let everyone know that the pool is, we're coming along soon enough. It's by the end of this month. By the time we meet again in June, our pool will be open with staffing and lifeguard positions are pretty much complete. And I'm sure our borough manager will also update us on the staffing module. There's like what's the word I'm looking for?
Application?
Yes, well, it's how our part-time summer help will be able to keep track of their hours this summer. Also, I wanted to express some sad news. The Green Tree Public Library Board learned last week of the passing of one of our most prolific supporters, Mrs. Eunice Nasri. Mrs. Nasri was the beloved wife of Dr. William Nasri, who for years upheld a commitment to the Green Tree Public Library and the love of Dr. Nasri and his wife's love of languages and libraries. Mrs. Nasri for years committed a substantial amount of money to our library and helped to bring the joy of library to everyone from children to adults across decades. Mrs. Nasri, because of Mrs. Nasri and Dr. Nasri and their generous donations, many new immigrants became connected to the library for the first time. People learned new languages that helped further their careers, and others got in touch with familiar roots and built lasting connections with their neighbors. On behalf of the library board and staff, we are very grateful for Mrs. Nasri's commitment to the library, and we do hope to be able to carry and move her legacy forward for years to come. And on a positive note, I wanted to send a huge thank you and appreciation to the Green Tree Garden Club. We know that they put a lot of love and care into the municipal garden. Many of the flowers that they attend to, especially their roses, are starting to bloom right now. But this amazing club of residents and non-residents work all year to beautify our Green Tree community, not just in that one particular garden, but through events, school outreach, many more things that they do for us. Recently, the Garden Club approached our borough manager and requested an upgrade to the electrical service in the municipal garden, along with some pathway lighting. The Garden Club has generously put up $7,000 for these improvements, and the Facilities and Public Property Committee discussed it at our meeting in April, and we are very excited to approve this project, which will only cost us about $9,800 and the vast majority of it will be able to be paid for our garden club. Their efforts to make these projects happen allow us to have beautiful things happen in that garden. They continuously and tirelessly work to bring so much good to our community. Please thank me in joining them tonight and by attending their spring festival this Saturday. As you can see, your patronage at their events directly benefits our community. Because we'll be able to go forward with this project, it means that we will ultimately be able to have that park available for more things and throughout this more seasons than just the summer and spring. So I wanted to extend a huge thank you. It is more than just tilling the gardens and making sure they look nice. They do a lot of work for our community. So that is the end of my report.
Just one clarification, Shannon. The total cost for the electrical upgrades for the garden would be 10,000, if I understood correctly. 7,000 would come from the garden club and 3,000 from the borough. Approximately.
It's going to be a 7,000 from the garden club and approximately a little less than 3,000 from the borough, but yes.
Correct. Okay. Because you said would cost us. I just wanted to just clarify the split, who to us. Thank you.
Yeah, they're giving us the vast majority of the money to pay for those upgrades.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barron.
Judy, is there an update on the Green Tree Nature Center trees? I know that was something that you were looking at.
Yeah, Carrie's gonna have the guys go out. We looked at it last summer. We did remove some towards the end of the year. Some trees that were identified by DCNR foresters as being not dangerous, but should be removed. So they'll go back through again this year and then,
If there was a bigger issue, there's oak wilt, which is destroying the oaks, and that was something that we were going to look at to see with the.
well, that was from several years ago.
Yeah.
They killed some big oaks. They did look at those. They did not feel that they were of an immediate concern.
Okay.
But the overall plan will be to get a forester in there. I did talk with an individual when I was at ALOM that can help us. I just need to find the time to reach out to her and get moving on that. But yeah, that's the idea with that is just to create a 3 to 5 to 10-year plan to help control the invasive species, to help foster new growth within there, and obviously to ensure that, you know, the trails and whatnot that are there have safe passage.
Okay, moving on to public safety.
Sorry, can I add one more thing?
Oh, please.
I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
one thing did pop off my list. I just wanted to let everyone know, to revisit the vote we had tonight, that was just to continue our relationship with our architect for the building and management of the project. All of council has been provided with updated renditions of the pool project. And our Parks and Public Facilities Committee did discuss it in our meeting last month. And we will continue that conversation of what our pool could look like at a future workshop meeting. And then it will come to vote at a future general meeting. So just continuing to keep everyone posted with that. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks again. Okay, we'll move on to public safety, Mr. Ray.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. President. Mayor brought up the issue of part-time police officer, and I'd just like to have a discussion on what that process should look like. We've had, as he mentioned, we've had part-time police officers in the past. He also mentioned that we're down to 7 officers, including the acting chief. You know, we run 3 shifts with 2 officers each, so that's 6 officers a day, leaving 1 that's not working that day. So you can imagine the amount of overtime that is starting to accumulate. That said, we still live in a safe borough. I know you mentioned there were some break-ins, but those were because there were cars unlocked, but not that it's not because of our low staffed agency or low staffed department. The officers are still doing a great job keeping us safe. But the overtime, if they continue to work the overtime at the pace they're working, that could create a public safety issue. So I want to have a serious discussion on initiating the process for hiring a part-time police officer. I know that, like I said, we've hired them in the past. We probably do have an existing process. We have an existing job posting. I just want to figure out what we can do to expedite that, to get it posted. And at least consider what our options are moving forward with a part-time officer.
I can certainly kind of go back through how the process was before and give council a little kind of summary. And then I would also like to talk to Sean a little bit. I know I had a brief conversation with him as a result of the mayor's email that he had sent out, just to kind of start getting an idea of what would be required. So I can do that and
Okay.
give council a summary for sure.
Yeah. Thank you. I asked Ms. Miller to check out Green Tree Cemetery. Green Tree Cemetery, as you know, we took over that cemetery 7 years ago-ish.
Oh, no.
Longer than that.
It was before COVID,
Oh,
wasn't it?
longer
No,
than
it was
that.
like 2013 at least.
2013?
Yeah.
Okay, it's been a number of years
I
since,
think that was the deed.
yeah, so the borough owns the nature center, well, that too. Owns the cemetery on Green Tree Road that's adjacent to the nature center, and over the past couple of years, there's a trail that goes from the swings to the nature center. It's a walking trail that's maintained. I walk through it with my kids. I know that there are a lot of walkers and hikers that use that for access onto Green Tree Road. And I've noticed the past couple of times we were there that there's some large headstones that are at a pretty acute angle that I tell my kids don't get anywhere near those. Some have already toppled. So she's gonna go out there with the public works superintendent to check, and maybe somebody else.
Some of them, no, just Carrie and I went out last year and we looked at several headstones. We actually did some clearing of the over the hill section because it's quite unfortunate that there are headstones back in the overgrowth section that toppled years ago and they're like sadly abandoned. That's the difficult part with that cemetery is most of the families that made it to those headstones are gone from the community, but we'll take a look at it again. Like I said, we were there last year. We did some work last year. But we'll make sure, go out. We actually have to have a company come out to do that. That's not something where Public Works because of the equipment and whatnot that
Right.
needs to be there. So,
Yeah, and like I said, some have
Absolutely.
completely toppled over that are laying on the ground, that
Yeah.
we should probably. At the time that deed was transferred, I believe the church that previously owned it gave us 70,000
I think there's about 60,000 in the
remaining.
little, maybe plus or minus a little bit. But yeah, there's 60,000 that we accepted with the responsibility.
Okay. And the mayor stole the rest of my thunder, but just so I can sleep tonight. Can someone please tell me when the last time the finance committee had a scheduled meeting?
So at the end of February.
We've had emails. I mean, we just haven't gotten
When's
to
the
that.
last time there was a scheduled meeting?
I think it was the end of February. If I'm remembering correctly. And actually, I had just sent out like some topics that we could discuss at our next meeting. So I think it's in progress to get something scheduled. I sent that out maybe a couple weeks ago. So
I think it came up last week.
Yeah.
Before.
start with start.
Thank you.
Just real quick, anybody's thought, I mean, since the police department brought it up, since they're trying to go outside the box, anyone's thought on the $5,000 bonus in the advertisement for police candidates? Any gut reaction?
My gut reaction is whatever we have to do to hire police officers. If that's competitive, if that's a competitive bonus, if there are other departments offering bonuses, and that's what we need to do to maintain our competitiveness to attract police officers, then I am all for it.
It would be good to know what other municipalities are offering so that we could really, pinpoint what's gonna be attractive.
Also, we need to know if there's a cost for the sign. I think we'd be more than happy to look at it, but I think we need to have information showing what the costs are
And we would,
and
do
what
that.
the,
Yeah, we would do that
I
for the
think
cost.
we'd be in favor of certainly looking at all those options. Like, I agree with Dave, we need to hire police.
Yeah, but we would like to get the advertisement out within the next week, not necessarily on the billboard, but we want to advertise. And this would get their approval of the cost. But anyhow, the $5,000 signing bonus, I don't think other municipalities are doing it. The $5,000 is not going to be attractive to too many, but new candidates in the police academy was the thinking of the police department. It might be attractive to new candidates in the police department. But others don't appear to be doing it.
Well, maybe we should have kept that under wraps then.
Yeah, you just
Oh.
publicized it.
No, but if,
But the amount, but that compared to the amount we're spending in overtime.
no, but if we put it in the application, if we put in the advertisement for a new officer,
Right,
that would be in the next week or so.
Right.
Does anyone have any opposition to putting the $5,000 pending that Sean doesn't have any?
I don't know how we.
Yeah,
Being a person that, I don't know why 5,000. I mean, where did it come from?
Because
I think we need to look at that.
if I may say, I think maybe just generally to talk about the idea of the bonus and talk to Labor Council to ensure that there's no conflict. with
Feel much
the-
better that way.
That would be my recommendation as well.
That was gonna be my point I was gonna bring up.
Okay, well, I'll check into that.
Madam Chair, thank you.
Okay, and then lastly, the water company, I probably should have brought this up in infrastructure. Does anyone have any opposition to requesting the borough manager to contact the water company to see if she can push them a little bit in regard to Park Edge and Shell?
Already on the list.
Okay,
I will be reaching out to my contacts at PAWC.
okay, but everyone's for that.
And I will
Okay.
say, we have.
You know,
been
their
very-
headquarters are in the borough, so.
Yeah, but, and I will tell you, we have always had a very good working relationship with PAWC. Sorry that there's been this much trouble. I was unaware of this break, so we'll definitely reach out to them.
Okay.
Sorry, Dave, anything else you have?
No.
Okay,
I'm sorry. No.
okay, we'll move on to recreation, Mr. Panza.
I believe the mayor may have mentioned that the farmer's market starts May 16th. I believe he did. However, I just wanted to add that if anyone has any extra time, volunteer one day up there. It's from like 4 to 7 o'clock. You know, you don't have to make all 24 of them. But if anyone has any extra time, the rec committee sure could use some extra help in running that. It's a great thing. And the community really enjoys it. So any help we can get. And that's really all I have for the comment.
Thank you very much. As far as the president's report, just some basic things. Newsletters coming out within the next couple of weeks or so. Make sure you get a copy of it and read it. It's going to be stocked full of a lot of information. And I have to, every time I have to keep mentioning Green Tree Connect, really good app, has a lot of great stuff on it. You can find out everything that's going on. Please make sure you download it on your phone or your computer. It's very helpful. Just a couple shirt pocket notes. I've been passing Chipotle. It's been packed, so that's all good. Nice to see a good business making a lot of business. I don't know. Do we have any idea when Jersey Mike's is going to open?
They don't have a date yet set yet.
Okay, just wondering because they're moving along too. Then interestingly enough, is another discussion, a little topic about the Garden Club event. I noticed in Scott Township, they had Green Tree Garden Club signs up. 2 people I drove by had one in their front yard and I was like, well, that's pretty interesting. You guys have really broadened it out. When we buy Scott Township, it's going to be great. You know, we'll take it over. Yeah. Anyhow, just another plug for you guys on the 11th. I don't have anything else. Manager's report, Ms. Miller.
Make it brief. Just a reminder that full passes go on sale. First day is Wednesday, May 15th, then Saturday from 4 to 7. That's a Wednesday, 4 to 7. May 18th, 10 to 2. That's a Saturday. And then again on May 24th, which is a Friday evening, 4 to 7, which is the night before the pool opens on May the 25th. We still are advertising for lifeguards. We're a little bit light. We're good, but sometimes the kids don't stay the whole season or, you know, to accommodate some extra activities. We would like to have a few extra. So if you know of anybody that's looking for a lifeguarding position, we would love to have them apply. And then we're also looking for public works summer help. So anybody's interested in that. And then just lastly, Representative Deasy's having a shredding event at Green Tree Park on Saturday, May 11th from 8 to 11 a.m. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much.
Well, at this time, I would love to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Shannon.
Good night, everyone.
We'll
Good night.
Bye.
Yeah, hopefully I'll see you soon.
Yes, absolutely.